it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. I'm just out for my walk and I got caught in a rainstorm. And I wanted to talk about that. Emotional healing is critical to your physical health. As we know, emotions get trapped in the body throughout your life. At an early age, they get trapped in when you get told not to express anger by your parents or teachers, when you have timeouts, when you're abandoned or rejected for crying, and maybe you're a man and you're called weak. Whatever it is, however you build these protective mechanisms around feeling the full totality of your emotions, you begin to start to suppress them. When you feel the energy of anger arise, you hold it in. When you feel the tears or the lump rising up in your throat, you learn to hold it back. Right? We learn to hold back emotions. But this, over time, is what leads to the breakdown of the body. It's what leads to dis-ease in the body. Since you are everything, you are a fragment of God. You are a fragment of the totality of everything. Then that means all your feelings are good. There is no good and bad, right? There is no right and wrong feelings. There is just feelings. And all of your emotions, all of your sensations are a part of you. They are all part of the total expression of you. And when we shut parts of ourselves off or deem parts of ourselves unlovable, or if I show that, I won't be accepted, I'll be judged, I'll be criticized, I'll be abandoned, we begin to build protectors around ourselves. We build up walls, right? Protective mechanisms to keep these parts of us hidden. These parts of ourselves which really are relegated to the shadow, to the darkness, and they're really exiled parts of ourselves, right? Certain feelings, certain emotions, certain memories, certain experiences, certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain behaviors, they're deemed unacceptable by us because we feel society will judge them, criticize them, and ultimately abandon us. And we just don't want that. So we hide these parts. These parts are exiled and they're protected by other stronger parts of ourselves. Parts that swoop in, parts that have our best interest at heart, not wanting us to get judged, criticized, abandoned, ultimately, from society or those we love the most. So these protector parts swoop in and say, I've got you, don't worry, I'll tell you what to do. The problem is these protector parts of yourself are constructed from your ego. They're constructed from this identity that you've created. That all the patterns and behaviors and beliefs that you've been told and that you've experienced through your life, the accumulation of these patterns and beliefs that make up you, that make up the construct of your personal identity, your self-identity. These protector parts are created and they are made from this identity, from the brain, from the ego, from the rational part of ourselves, from the part from the throat chakra, all of up here, right? Where we think. This is where we create the ego, where we create these protection mechanisms, where we exile the parts that are deemed unlovable. We do this from the ego, from the part that looks for safety above all else, that looks to protect you above all else. And this ego is not bad. This ego is brilliant. It is your brain, it's your intelligence, it's your processing, right? Your higher thinking mind that can process all of this data and all this information and inputs in your life and relationships and patterns and beliefs and everything that's happening. You can look around at your environment and your inner environment, and it makes the best rational decisions. The ego thinks it's right. The ego wants to be right. The ego uses its intelligence and its processing to take all the data and all the information that it has and make the best possible decision to keep you safe. And by keeping you safe, its goal, its priority is to keep you alive, keep you safe, keep you going. And often, when it takes everything into account, it knows that if you are judged and criticized and ultimately abandoned, you will not be safe. So taking everything that it needs to take into account, it tells you the best decision. It gives you its best processing. And this is why it's hard not to listen to the ego. But the ego is processing all the data from your mind, from your thoughts, from your intelligence. And that, to the ego, right, to your intelligent mind, is the most important thing. But it overrides the heart and the soul. It overrides the feelings and the sensations in the body in favor of data processing, in favor of intelligent thought and rational critical thinking, which is what we've grown up in this modern era to believe is the most important thing. Going to school, getting good marks, getting good grades is praised, is worthy. The more you can process and think and critical think and be intelligent and use your brain, that is celebrated. Getting ahead, being successful, this is celebrated. And so it is our subconscious and unconscious belief that it is more important than the messages of the heart and the soul. But there are other cultures, and not too long ago in our ancestral history, where this, the heart, the soul, was celebrated above all else, right? And right now, it just isn't in your life. And so it's very, very, very hard to go against the ego, to go against the rational things that your ego tells you based on all its thoughts and experiences and all the inputs and data that it has. Not to mention that we are taught as small infants all the way up through our whole adult life that this is the most important thing that we have, our intelligence, our thoughts, our thinking, right? Our perception, our judgment, coming to rational thought and rational conclusions. This is celebrated. And so this is how we process. This is how we learn to process. The problem is that logic is not the language of the body. Right? Logic, the English language, thoughts, math, judgment, none of this is the language of the body. So everything that we've learned starts with language. It starts with information. It begins to build logic. But that is not the language that our body knows. Evolutionary speaking, before, pre-language, that is not the language of the body. We come into this world with nothing. We're a baby. We come in with no processing, no logic, nothing. We are a being, and the first thing that we do when we come out is make a scream. We breathe in the air and then we scream. We make our presence known. This is who we are. That is the language of the body. The body speaks in sensations. It speaks in emotions. It speaks in feelings, right? Feelings and sensations and emotions. This is the language we instinctually know. Yes, over the years, we have put words, language to those feelings and emotions to try to explain them and make sense of them and process them, right? We've created Spanish and English, but that's not the language that the body speaks. The body speaks. If we had no language, if we took away language, if you couldn't express yourself in English or Spanish or French, and you had no way of communicating, your body would still communicate to you. It would communicate in sensations and emotions and feelings, because this is pre-language. This is pre-everything. This is what we come into the world with. The first way that we learn ever as a human being on earth to communicate is through our emotions and our feelings. And we activate our voice. We activate our voice to express those emotions, sensations, and feelings. We would cry. There was different cries, a painful cry, a frustrated cry, a sad cry. Mothers instinctually know what those cries mean when they're tuning into their infant. Laughter, we laugh, we babble, we breathe, we rest, we're at peace. We have ways of showing and communicating what we need, getting our needs met. Pre-knowledge, pre-rational thought, pre-anything but just using our emotions, our sensations, and our feelings expressed through our expressions, right? Through our voice. We learn to express through these emotions. This is our barometer. This is our compass. It's like how we feel. And we learn to communicate and have our needs met based on how we express with our face, with our tone, with our voice, right? With our eyes. We communicate, and it has nothing to do with what's going on in the rational brain or thought. It has nothing to do with any beliefs or values or patterns. This is all pre-ego. This is all pre-identity. We don't yet know who we are. We have not yet built a self-identity, and yet we still know how to express and to feel and to communicate and to get our most basic needs met. This is the language of the body. This is the language of the heart. This is the language of the soul. And this is the language of healing. We all know that our body is a self-healing machine, right? When we get a cut, we know it's going to heal. We expect it to heal. We know that there's going to be cells sent and inflammation and different processes being sent to heal and scab over the wound and heal it up. Just like when we have a cold, we know we're going to have a sore throat and mucus and buildup and fever, right? Killing off of the virus, this natural way our body does it, and then we come through it. We know we are going to self-heal these things. We don't question the process as to what's happening. And we don't say, oh my gosh, I can't let this happen. I can't let my body send those red blood cells, send those white blood cells, send those killer T cells. Like, that's going to be embarrassing. I got to stop it from healing that cut so no one sees. I want to, we don't do that because physically we don't understand really the mechanisms of the body, the intelligence of the body that it has. Or when we have a cold, we don't say, oh my God, it's so embarrassing that I have a sore throat, or that now my nose is runny, and oh my gosh, I can't believe that I have a fever. I can't let anybody know I have a fever. Oh my God, it's crazy. I gotta hide this fever. We don't do that. We know instinctually that this is the process of healing, that the body is intelligent, that the body is taking over, and we allow the body to take over and go through the process of healing. And we stay out of the way, we give it comfort. We respond to what it needs. We respond to what it's asking for. If it's asking for rest, we give it rest, right? If our throat hurts, then we drink warm liquids to soothe it, right? We help what's happening. We don't pick off the scab every time the body heals it over. We know what's happening. We know it's healing it. And we don't think or feel like embarrassed or threatened or unsafe that our body does this. We allow the process to happen. But when it comes to our emotions, when it comes to our heart, we unfortunately have had a huge, massive disconnect. We've taken the body, the natural response of the body to heal traumatic wounds, emotional wounds. And we have learned to suppress our emotions, to suppress the emotions that we feel, because we've been taught in this society for some reason, for some reason growing up that it is shameful to show these things, or unacceptable to show these full spectrum emotions to the world as they're happening. We feel a sense of shame and rejection. We feel criticized, right? Because growing up, there's so many emotional traumatic wounds that the generations before us have had and haven't healed, that they're not able to hold ours. So they can't hold our full anger or our full sadness or our full shame. They can't hold these feelings if they've never held their own, right? If they can't sit and hold their own anger and have ever looked and allowed their own sadness and grief, then they aren't willing or able to hold ours. And so ours triggers them, it triggers theirs. This is how triggers work, because whatever is triggered resides within us. So if they have unprocessed anger, your parents growing up has unprocessed anger that they have suppressed, and we show anger, it triggers their anger. And in triggering their anger, they say to us, shh, stop it. Go have a timeout. We do not allow this in this family. This is not how we do it. We do not show or express our anger, or you will be rejected. You will be given a timeout. You will be relegated to shame. You are not loved unconditionally if you continue to act this way, because it triggers theirs, and they have not processed their own, unheld emotional wounds. They just can't, and it's through no fault of their own, hold ours. And so the trauma circle gets passed down. We learn to suppress our emotions, our angers, our thoughts, our feelings, right? And we suppress them. We hold them in. This is how generational trauma works. And then when we have children, we do the same thing. When they cry and they show their deep, deep grief, and we have unprocessed grief, we can't take it. We say, stop crying. It's too much. Be happy, be grateful for what you have, right? Because it's too painful for us, because it's triggering our unprocessed grief or our unprocessed anger. And this is how it's worked, and this is how it is passed down. And this is why so many of us in this world are hurting and have unprocessed feelings that we simply do not process, which is the real language of the body, because we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid to be told, no, that's too much. Showing that much of your grief is too much. You can be a little sad, but you can't be grief-stricken, right? You can be a little mad, but you can't have rage. This is what we learn. You can be a little scared, but you can't feel terror. Otherwise, we've labeled you, we've judged you, we've criticized you, we've said you have a mental illness, right? If you're a little scared, well, that's just fear, that's okay. We allow that in our society. But if you feel terror to the point where you have experienced panic, and you show panic attacks in real life to others, right? Then you're judged, you're criticized, and that's why it feels so embarrassing. That's why there's so much control around not expressing panic or having a panic attack, for the embarrassment factor, for the fear of rejection, right? This is why you're allowed to have some grief in your life. You lose someone you love, something tragic happens to you. You can cry, you can have emotions, you can have sadness, but you can't fall into deep, deep grief, or else you'll have depression. We judge you with labels and diagnoses and put you in boxes that say, this is an illness, this isn't even normal. We criticize you, we label you, we've taught you not to express your full spectrum, the full spectrum of the emotion that you feel, that can never be wrong. Your emotions can never be wrong. They are only what is. They are only what is, wanting to be felt and wanting to be expressed. And when we hold it in, when we suppress it, when we tone it down, we're telling ourselves You are not worthy to feel this full emotion. I do not love the totality of myself because I do not allow the totality of my emotions. So in a sense, you are not giving yourself, being authentic, loving yourself for who you truly are, which is all of your emotions, all of your light, all of your darkness, all of your joy, all of your grief, right? All of your compassion, all of your anger, the totality of you, of your full spectrum of every emotion that you ever have had or felt. When you can accept that, that is true unconditional love. But if we haven't been shown true unconditional love by the people who are supposed to unconditionally love us and accept all of us, then we've learned through no fault of our own not to accept all of us. And so we push parts of ourselves into the shadows, right? Yes, you can be sad. Yes, you can be angry. Yes, you can feel emotion. Yes, you can do all of this, but not that, but not that, but not the full version of that. But don't think that, but don't say that, but don't feel that. Right? This yes, this no. That's not true love. That's not unconditional love. And the body knows it. The body feels it. The body feels rejected by its source, by God, by you. You are the source, the full source of your body. When you reject yourself, it's like God rejecting you, and God would never reject anything about you. The full, the universe does not reject anything. There is no good or bad. It is what is, and we accept all of it. And when we feel it, when we accept it, when we truly allow it to be what it is and love it and hold space for it and give it love unconditionally anyway, then we feel the full spectrum of ourselves. We come into this deep authenticity of who we are. We've expressed what we've needed to express, and that is healing. That is true healing. Because you feel loved, you feel complete. It's this completion, like I needed to feel that. I've wanted to feel that. I needed to say that. Like I needed to show that. I needed to be heard. I needed. But I've been holding back. I haven't even allowed myself to feel it without judgment or criticism or fear of rejection. But now I know that I am loved, even if I love myself unconditionally, even if I'm no longer afraid of rejection. I'm no longer afraid to be myself. And when you're no longer afraid to be yourself, because you have unconditional acceptance and love for yourself, that is when your body can heal, because that is when you come into a true nervous system regulation, a true sense of safety. I feel safe in the world because I am unconditionally accepted, loved, and held. And I can be who I am. It is safe for me to be who I am. To be that radiant soul who came into this world and took its first breath and screamed out its primal scream. I am free to be myself. And I am worthy. And I don't need approval or permission. I am that I am. And I am love. I am the totality of everything. My full spectrum is part of the whole. And that's when we begin to take down our walls and our protective mechanisms that we've kept in place. And the exiled parts of ourselves can come out and they can be integrated back into the wholeness of our being. We can be all of it. We can be ourselves without fear of abandonment or rejection. We can be who we are without fear of labels, right? Or diagnoses or judgment. We can be our full self. And when we can be our full self, we always choose to be the best version of ourselves, because when we are the truest and coming from the truest parts of ourselves, we know that deep grief isn't bad. We know that anger doesn't make us a bad person. We know that expressing the emotion of the body is momentary, it's fleeting, and it's a wholeness. It points us towards goodness, it points us towards truth. It points us towards authenticity and the best, truest, realest versions of ourselves that we can be, the expressions that we came here to be. And when we are full expression, we can live in that love and creativity and all of the good feelings that we've ever wanted, because we're not holding underwater all of the parts that we're afraid to be seen. Because we know that our emotions aren't us, just like our thoughts aren't us. Right? We don't scold ourselves for every bad thought we have, because we know that's not us, it's just a passing thought. We know that the true self, the real self, is consciousness itself, is the everything, is the I am state. And then we are free because we are us, and we are what we came here to be, and we can be all of us, and it feels good to be in that world. It feels safe, and then we're free to express in beautiful ways that we've always wanted to, create amazing relationships and exciting opportunities and career choices, and we don't have all of these other emotions holding us back and tying us down, weighing us down like an anchor on a boat, just weighing us in. We're able to put up our sails and go. So I started this video by saying I was caught in a rainstorm, and it reminded me to do this video. Because you know, when you go outside and you're thinking, I don't know if I want to go for a walk. It looks pretty dark out there. I might get rained on. I don't want to get wet. I don't want to be rained on. And we spend, sometimes we don't even go on the walk because we're afraid of the rain. We're afraid to feel the rain, the uncomfortable feeling of being wet or cold, right? Uncomfortable. And so we don't go. And we're outside and we see the clouds darkening, and maybe the rain starts, and we put a hood up, we do our jacket up, whatever it is. We turn around on our walk to head for home. We run from a car to the house. We avoid trying to get wet. We avoid trying to get cold, wet, sticky, have our hair be a mess, our makeup get washed off, whatever it is. But if you've ever been on a walk and you're a long way from home and there's no point in turning around, and you didn't bring a rain jacket, and all of a sudden the skies open up and you feel those raindrops and you feel them on your head, and the sky really releases and lets go. And there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to wait it out, and there's nowhere to duck into, there's no store to zip into or no car to climb into. There's nowhere to hide. You're way out by yourself on a country road. There's nowhere to go. And so everything that you've been resisting, all of this rain that you've been resisting is coming. It's coming. And the skies open up and it pours down on you. And at some point you stop resisting. And it's the point when you begin to stop resisting and just allow what is to be. You allow the rain to hit you. You take the hood off your head. You resign yourself to the fact that you are getting wet, and you put your face up to the sky and you let the rain pour down on you. You let it hit your face, and yes, it's cold, and yes, it's wet, but it's not uncomfortable. In fact, there's a beauty to it. It feels delicious in a way, and soothing and freeing, and you allow that rain to pour down on you without caring what your hair looks like or what your makeup looks like or when you're gonna get out of it, and you just enjoy the rain. This is what it's like with our emotions. We suppress them, we hold them down, right? We stay in resistance to feeling them for as long as we can. But suddenly when we allow ourselves to feel it, when we allow ourselves to cry, the tears to come, when we allow that grief to rise up through the heart center, out the throat, and we make this sound, we wail the sound that resonates with the emotion. We feel this beauty. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But we cannot care anymore who sees us. If we're embarrassed, we just allow it to be what it is. And we sit in that feeling. We cry, we wail, we let all the emotion go through our energy centers, up, through our chakras, through our heart center, out our throat chakra, right? Out into the world, the way we were born when we took our first breath, when we wailed that first wail. That is us. That is how the body communicates. And we allow it to be what it is and to express what it is. It needs to say through emotion, through feeling. Then we have connected with our body. We have connected mind, body, and soul. And there's a release in that. There's a healing in that. There's a deep beauty because we are our authentic self. We are our true self. We are being our whole, real expression of everything that we feel in that moment. We are allowing ourselves to feel it fully. And that's the beauty. That's the healing. We love ourselves. We give ourselves unconditional freedom to make the sounds, to cry the cries, to feel the feelings. And they never last forever. Just like the rainstorm I was in today, it poured down on me. And then suddenly, that pouring, the really heart of the storm never lasts. Those intense raindrops, those intense tears, the wails that you may cry, that part of it dies down. It washes away. And behind it is the love, is the wholeness, is the beauty, is the healing. That's why they say after the storm is the rainbow. After the tears come the wholeness, come the love. After we connect with our emotions and we allow it to be actually felt somatically in the body. It never stays that way. It goes through us. This is what it means to transform or to transmute the energy. The energy is doing the thing that the cut does, the thing that the cold does, the thing that we don't resist our body doing, the natural process of healing. It's healing those emotional wounds, right? It's transforming. It's like the process of the cold or the flu or the cut. Our body is doing what it needs to do when we allow it to do it. When we allow our emotions to be felt in our body, with our breath, with our muscles, with our breathing, with our cries, with our voice. When we feel it somatically at the deepest parts of our being, this is the process of emotionally healing. This is how our body was meant to do it, meant to heal these traumatic wounds that we have, these deep griefs, right? These deep angers. This is us not interfering with the process, not holding them down, not suppressing them, not traumatically reliving and just mirroring patterns that we've been taught and modeled our entire life. This is us connecting to our being that we were sent here as pre-language, pre-self-identity, just communicating through emotion, feeling, and our voice and our body language, communicating and being free to be ourselves without fear of judgment, without fear of loss, without fear of abandonment, right? Being ourselves. And this is what it means to be whole, to be complete. And that is the process of emotional healing. It's like the rain. We can stay in resistance. Oh, I don't want to get wet. I don't want it to be cold, and then we're there and it's happening. And you might as well free yourself and enjoy that rain. Look up at the sky, feel it, because it's there and it'll stop, just like your tears, just like your anger, just like the deepest, darkest thoughts and emotions, and feelings and sensations that you have. Tune into, don't reject, right? Lean into, don't push down the feelings, the emotions, the sensations that scare us the most. And so yes, law of attraction, law of assumption, living in the end, creating the reality that we want, but not through denial, not through rejection, not through suppression, through feeling all of it. And then when we're whole, we can actually create who and what it is that we want and who we are. When we try to create our reality by forcing, by rejecting, by denying, by disowning, right? We can never be the fullest expression of who we are because we're rejecting and denying and suppressing parts of ourselves. It's when we allow them fully, we allow it to be seen, we bring it back into our being, we bring it back into the light, then we are whole, then we are complete, then we can manifest and truly create a reality that we want, that resonates, that's authentic, that's in line with who and what we are in this world, because it's coming from the truest parts of yourself. So it's never about denying, it's about accepting all of it, seeing all of it. And then you can create everything that you want because it's inspired, it's coming from your most authentic voice, your most authentic being. The one that's not afraid to be themselves in this world and to create what it is they truly want. So if you have chronic illness and you don't understand why your body is sending you sensation after sensation after sensation, it's because you are holding down emotion after emotion after emotion. And emotion is energy, right? Energy in motion. And when energy is not in motion, when it's not free to energetically go through the chakra system, right? When it's stuck in the body, it is like a pressure cooker or a kettle, holding in, holding down, suppressing, denying, rejecting, ignoring, but picking up steam, right? The pressure, it has nowhere to go. And suddenly you feel a sensation in your body, right? You feel these sensations, you feel dis-ease in your body. You feel sick, you feel pain, you feel it in the body through a sensation because you haven't felt it through your emotions, through your voice. And it's stuck. But just because it's unheard, just because it's unseen, doesn't mean it's unfelt. It has to go somewhere. This stuck energy builds, right? And we need to release it. So these are why the sensations, the overpowering sensations, are like trying to hold and contain the energy within the pressure cooker. But you can't, you feel it. It starts to shake, it starts to rattle. And eventually it has to blow, and that's scary. Let these feelings out, let these emotions be felt. Pre-language, ego, rational thought. You can do therapy your whole life, cognitive therapy. You can talk and rationalize and learn techniques and tips, but you can never heal it until you feel it in the body. That's why somatic work is so important, right? Yes, it's good to understand it. Yes, it's good to learn about it. Yes, it's good to acknowledge. Yes, it's good to know your patterns and to see them and to call them out. And yes, that's all in the rational egoic brain. But how can you communicate with your body? Pre-language, pre-critical thinking, all of it. How can you allow your body to express what's trapped in there? What needs to be felt? The energy that needs to move through. And we just allow that energy to move through, and we stop being afraid of it. We allow it, we allow it. We allow it. We risk judgment. We risk criticism. We risk abandonment. We risk pain. We risk the discomfort. We accept that it is going to rain down on us. And we look up to the sky and we allow that rain to hit our face. We stop resisting what is. When we allow what is, when we allow ourselves, we free ourselves. Okay, this video has been long. I hope that you have gotten so much insights from this about trauma, about what emotional healing was, about how manifestation, about how all of it works. And I hope that it resonates deeply with you. Not only here, but here. Here. Feel it. Be the totality of you. Love everything about you. Accept everything about you. You are a fragment of God. You are a fragment of Source. You are whole. You'll come back into wholeness. You'll come back into balance, right? Your energy will be balanced and then your body can heal. So I really hope this has been helpful. It's foundational. It's a lot of what I teach in my program, and I really hope it resonates with you. I hope it helps you. I hope it's been valuable. And if you enjoy this content, please subscribe and help this channel grow. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.